Here's to unfulfilling phone sex, getting high at bowling alleys, experimental music with unstable friends, and weird office romances.
I've got to take Jeremy's advice more often. I'm out on a date with a teenage goth smoking pot in the laser bowl toilets. This is it.
Welcome to Watch Mojo UK, and today we'll be counting down the top 10 Peep Show moments.
Before we begin, if you enjoy this video, be sure to subscribe for more great content.
For this list, we're celebrating everything that is agonisingly awkward about the David Mitchell and Robert Webb-fronted Channel 4 sitcom. So, anyone with social anxiety, look away now.
Love's for Nazis. Yeah, crazy love. Nazi love. I'm a nutter!
Number 10, Mark's book launch.
Mark's found a publisher for his book.
Brilliant. His book? What next? He's found a director for his film, a builder for his cathedral.
Chuffed that his book, Business Secrets of the Pharaohs, is going to be published, Mark puts on a launch event to show off his new paperback, only to discover he's been duped and the publisher isn't legit. Instead of a polished product, he gets naff printouts that are listed with spelling mistakes, including his own name on the front cover.
They misspelt my name, Jeremy.
Mark Crorigan. But hey, it looks good, man. I mean, some of it's difficult to read because the text kind of disappears into the binding, but...
Thankfully, before Mark bolts from embarrassment, Jez and Dobby convince him to do a reading. And it's... well...
Make UK company law into your Anubis. Or, as the BL spell check has rendered it, make UK company law your omnibus.
Number 9, naming the bar. Every conversation between Jez and Superhands is gold, but we've homed in on their bar naming ritual for this list.
I'm just really not happy with the name Free the Pedos. I mean, can't we call it something more normal, like the Swan and Tomato?
Taking the reins of a disused pub, the guys set about deciding on a name for their new establishment. As always, Superhands goes for something socially uncouth, whereas Jez envisions something more palatable. A compromise is struck, not that it's much of an improvement.
Yeah, or compromise. The Swan and Pedo.
Yeah, okay, sure.
Number 8, Mark can't drive.
How you doing, Soph?
I think I'm having a baby. Okay, let's go.
The Eldu brothers are always telling little white lies, and more often than not, they come back to bite them in the arse. Take Mark's driving. He can't drive, of course, but he says he can to impress Sophie. But then he's forced to play chauffeur when she goes into labour.
I'm not going! Why is it not going? Why isn't it going? You've got the handbrake on, you cock!
Are you okay, Mark?
Panicking behind the wheel and forcing Jez to take his place, it's a nightmare from start to finish. And that's before Jez nearly kills Gail. Again.
Oh, shit. Probably have to retell this moment in Crown Court, and I've already forgotten exactly what happened.
Number 7, Gastric Blowout. How could Mark's bowel movements possibly ruin a potential business trip and destroy Jez's chances of taking a romantic bath with Big Suze? Observe. Mark's been trying to keep his gastric flu a secret from Johnson so he can fly to Frankfurt with him. But after being locked away in his room while Jez enjoys a shroom party, he's forced to call Johnson for backup. One long, smelly poo later and everything is in a shambles. Shambles. Yep, that's what I meant to say.
Is that normal pooing you're doing?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
Doesn't sound normal, right? Doesn't smell normal.
It is, honestly.
This is bollocks, Mark.
Number 6, Jez Wets Himself.
God, I am dying for a piss. I feel like someone's inflating a balloon full of urine inside me, and not in a good way.
Jez. He's like a vulnerable child at times. Take this scene where he's reduced to weeing himself while Mark deliberates his marriage with the help of a coin toss.
It's marry. I'm gonna marry. Shit.
What begins a childish complaint becomes a storm in a teacup and a mess on a church pew.
Are you doing it already?
Yes, I'm doing it already. I'm so pathetic that as soon as you ordered me to piss myself, I started the procedure. This is what you've done. You've ground down my sense of self-worth over the years. I hope you're proud.
With nowhere to go, Jez lets loose, but his embarrassment is tenfold when the floorboards prove less than watertight. Number 5, Mark's voicemail fail.
Who's the racist now, Mark?
Sophie, if you heard that, please ignore it. I'm not a racist. Far from it. Anyway...
Mark's hardly a Casanova with the ladies, but this is just ridiculous. After bagging Sophie's number and mustering up the courage to call her, he regrettably gets through to her answer phone and leaves a panicky, pretty pathetic message. Fumbling his way through the world's worst rendition of Frank Sinatra's Something Stupid, we watch the cringe unfold while Jez looks on in utter embarrassment.
Then I go and spoil it all by saying something stupid like, I like you. I mean, not that.
At least Mark keeps his cool after he hangs up.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Jesus.
I've really f***ed it, haven't I?
Number 4, Rainbow Rhythms Dance Class. In yet another disastrous attempt to impress Sophie, Mark attends one of her dance classes, except he mistakes salsa for the eccentric Rainbow Rhythms class.
Hi, guys. There's a changing room around there if you want to.
I thought these would be... This is salsa, isn't it?
Although Mark's frigid first time at the class is brilliant, giving us plenty of jazzy moods from Jez, we wanted to focus on Mark's not so triumphant second time out. Realising he needs something special if he wants to catch Sophie's eye, Mark decides to fake his primal urges and go for it.
She's buying it. God, it's so easy being a freak. No wonder they're 10 a penny. I should get extra marks for not feeling a f***ing thing.
Number 3, The Bad Thing. Ever done something you know was crazy on a night out but can't remember what it was? Well, Jez has.
Did something bad happen?
After a drug binge with super hands, Jez knows that something went down, but can't recall what the bad thing was. Was it the dental floss? Nope. He finally has a light bulb moment while watching TV the following evening, and the horrifying truth hits him like a ton of bricks.
That was the bad thing.
Right, my turn now.
Number 2, The Christmas Turkey. Mark and Jez's relationship can be quite volatile, and their bickering has driven both to extreme mood swings before.
You know, in my family, we do sort of jokey stockings.
Right. In mine, we sort of try quite hard.
But this explosive example takes the turkey. Keen to get everything in order for the holiday season, Mark gives Jez one simple job to do. When Jez says he hasn't done it, an eyes-bulging Mark goes absolutely berserk. But Mark's tantrum is quickly cut short.
Of course I've got a turkey. It's an organic turkey. I took ages researching it online. It's going to be delicious.
That looks like a lovely turkey.
What kind of turkey is it, Jez? Before we unveil our top pick, here are a few honourable mentions.
Okay, great. See you.
She's shifting her bum against my area.
Are you sure you don't want to get out of the way?
I'm all right.
What if someone comes in? Should step away from the bum.
Okay, Queenie. It's back in the 50s. You're nice and young. You've just been coronated. I'm taking off your cloak. No, leave the crown on. Ooh, what's this? Stockings? You've been getting through your nylon ration book pretty quickly, you naughty, sexy queen.
Number 1, Mummy the Dog.
There's a dead beast in our bin, Jeremy!
All right, keep your voice down.
What's the most awkward situation you've ever been in? Well, whatever it is, it can't be as bad as this. Whilst on Mark's stag do, Jez accidentally kills a dog, which just so happens to belong to a girl he's got the hots for. In a bid to dispose of the body, they burn it, but are left with a carrier bag full of canine remains.
He's got mummy! He's brought a dead dog into my pitch, the stupid bastard!
What might have been a relaxing canal boat ride becomes an elaborate effort to cover up the incident.
Nothing. This is turkey. Look. See? Just undercooked, disgusting turkey.
But all is eventually revealed.
They burnt Mummy and killed her in
Look, I'll email through my references, Malcolm.
Rora, I'll call you.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out these other great clips from WatchMojo UK and subscribe for more great content.